Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Yolanda Butler, and I'm here with a podcast that's been on my heart for a while, and it's called A Mother's Perspective. And we're going to talk about some things that are on my heart and share some words of hope and encouragement and love to someone who may or may not have that mother support, and that's what I'm here for. Mother's perspective is my point or a view or my attitude towards a subject or issue based on my motherly life and experience and godly wisdom. So I'm excited about what God is doing in me and through me. So today we're with the new year coming in 2026. Woo woo woo. I want to begin by sharing my thoughts and the importance of a person to stop and be still, to reset and refocus. Refocus and reset. That's our topic for today. Refocus and reset and refocus again if needed. If needed. But let me first address a mother's greatest concern. I'm a mother of two, been married 33 years. It is my second marriage. So just want to give you a little background and let you know I know a little something. I had a little experience. But you may say, what is a mother's concern? Can it be all about them, the mother, the job, their man that's not their husband? And, we'll get into that later. Finding a man, being happy, or just living my life where I just leave my kids out of the situation or leave them home by themselves because I got to live my life. Well, this is just to name a few points, but the greatest concern that a mother have is their children. Their children. They are the future. They are the backbone that's going to help mom in the long run. And if they raise right and if they're giving that love, they'll come back and make sure mom is okay. As we as mothers must do our best to pour godly principles and core values into them. And I understand everybody doesn't have that background or that experience or grew up in a loving and caring home. But guess what? You don't have to continue that cycle. You could break that cycle. You don't have to continue how mom didn't have it all together or dad didn't have it all together. Even grandma or your whole family. You could break that cycle and begin to do things different that's going to be beneficial for you and your children. So I've noticed and I watch women as I'm, out and about and in the mall, in the grocery stores, and I'm just saddened to see that the children is not their focus. It's not their focus, and that really bothers me. I see frustration and anger and meanness and nastiness and hurting women just putting all of that on their children. All of that on their children. And guess what your children doing? Your children are going to school, in the playground, in the lines, in the lunchroom, and they pouring that same meanness, attitude, frustration. They're pouring it on other kids. And then the teachers and the public officials have to handle it where it should have been handled and done in the home. This is part of the reason some are not having positive experiences in school. They're not learning because they don't have that time taken with them at home. I am a substitute teacher, and one thing I noticed that saddens me is that a second grader can't read. They could barely write. That bothers me. But we expect the teacher to do it all when it begins at home. I remember growing up, I didn't have a good handwriting, but mom made me sit at the dining room table and write pages, cursive writing, making sure I had it, testing us flashcards on addition and subtraction, just making sure we were prepared as children when we go to school so that what we learn in school could be reinforced at home. And that's what a mother's concern should be. But we all about the looks now. We all about how everybody looking, how I look, the hair, the nails, and these hair shops are becoming millionaires off of us because that's our focus. And we gotta refocus. We gotta get back to what's important, which is our children. So let's refocus and let's reset and refocus again by remembering that our children are a blessing. I don't care how they came about. You might have been too young to have children, or, it wasn't the person you wanted to have children with, or you thought you was going to get married. These are the things that I'm talking about women. This is the way we feel. We with Bobby and we with John, and we thought we was going to be there forever. Even in my first marriage, I was married and had my child in the marriage, but I thought I was going to be with this man forever, and life didn't happen like that. And so I had to refocus, and I had to focus on my child. And even in the midst of that, the hurt, the pain, and I still had to get it together and raise that child. And that's what I'm talking about today. A mother's perspective, my wisdom, my understanding, my experience, sharing with younger women, sharing it with you so that you can do better. Not continue the cycle, but do better. Do better. So whether the dad or the father is a part of your life or not, they are your blessing. And we need to cherish that they're your blessing. They're the love. All them children want is love. I go in as a substitute teacher. More kids, look, can I hug you? Can I give you a hug? And today you got to be careful because, you can't hug them, can't hold them, you can't touch them. But these children are so thirsty for love that they will even take it from a substitute teacher that don't just met them that day. So we got to get back to loving our children. They are our blessings, and we have to treat our blessings properly because guarantee you, no matter how rough and tough it is, you'll feel so much better in your being and who you are, and you just loving your children. Psalms 127:3. And I know everybody well, what do we got to bring the Bible in it? Do we got to talk church? Well, that's our foundation. That's our foundation. And that's what we have to get back to is the foundation. It's my perspective now, how I see it, We got to get back to that because that is what's going to lead us and guide us in the right way and give us understanding and guidance. So Psalms 127:3 states, "Behold, children are a gift of the Lord. The fruit of the womb is a reward." This verse emphasizes the divine value of children as a blessing from God. And if you have children, you are blessed because whether you may not know it or not, there are so many women who cannot have children. I know several women that have never birthed a child, and they wish they have had that experience. So for you to bring forth life is a blessing. And that life that came forth is a blessing to you. So you have to refocus and get back on that blessing because there's so many people that don't have it. It's just like a person, we complaining about our feet hurting, but we see somebody don't have no feet to hurt. So you blessed to have feet. So this verse highlights that children are not merely the result of human effort, but are the heritage from the Lord. The heritage from the Lord. It reassures that God provides children as a reward, indicating that their existence is a divine promise. It also says that nurturing and caring for children is essential. It's important. So we got to get back to that. We got to refocus. We got to reset. We got to get back to that. And children is seen as treasures that bring joy and purpose to families. I saw on the news the other day that grandparents that have children, grandchildren in their lives, that take time with their grandchildren, that babysit with their grandchildren, to take time just to go do an activity with their grandchildren, are more healthier, live longer lives. It puts puts youth back into them. It puts purpose into them. And so children, grandchildren, all of that is just rejuvenation to us. And we as mothers, we got to get back to that. Stop looking at your children as a burden. Stop looking at them as a problem. Stop putting on them how you feel about their dad. Stop doing that. Start telling them you're beautiful, you're great. Because what happens is if you don't tell them, some knucklehead on the street gonna tell them that. Or some dude gonna tell them, you come and join this, you need a crew, come hang out with our crew. And then you're going to wonder what happened to my child, why they're out on the street. And that's what we have to do. We have to start focusing on our children to get them back home and off the street. When I was young, I loved to go home because there was peace, there was joy. It was food in the house. It was care in the house. But if they come into a house there's always arguing, fighting, drinking, smoking, they don't want to come home to that. They're going to stay in the street, and then the street is going to get them. And so we got to get back to being concerned with our children. So the overall Psalms that we looked at, it just illustrates the spiritual significance of children as a gift from God. And I'm sure you never thought of your children as a gift from God. They are a gift from God. There is a purpose in you having a child, no matter how you may not have wanted, you might have been too young to have your children, but you had them. And now it's your responsibility to raise them and to care for them and give them the best life so that they can go and be responsible adults. So I'm encouraging parents to just cherish and nurture them as a reflection of the love and the love and grace that God has given you. Because you see, I got on my gray shirt. So that's what I'm talking about. I want to encourage you to start changing that attitude toward your children to look at them as your greatest blessing and watching the change occur in them. I challenge you to do that. Change it. Change that behavior in you and watch that change happen in your children. Try it. Try it. It will work. And then if you have teenage children and you've been doing this all the way up to their teenagers, now it's time for you to go back and say, I'm sorry. Mom was messed up. I'm getting myself to refocus back on you. Will you give me a chance to do that? Sometimes as parents, we don't want to go back and say, I'm sorry. But if we know that we was the cause of some of their frustration and aggravation and our lifestyle was all jacked up, we got to go back and fix that. And the best way to do that is say, I'm sorry. Mom didn't have it together. What I've learned in my 50s and 60s is not what I knew when I was 20 or 30 years old. So now your child 15 and you might have had them when you was 18. So now you 30 something years old and you know a little better now. You know things a little different. So now you need to go back and say, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't have the understanding I had today. Now I have it. And I want to take this relationship and make it better for me and you. I want to do better. So you got to go back. So when you refocus, just remember, it means that you're taking a direct attention, an effort to do something different, a different way. And that's what this is about. When you refocus. So now you sitting your kids down, you talking to them. Mommy is getting herself back in line with loving and caring for you. That's all they want. And I know I haven't been doing that, but I want you to forgive me for that. And let's start now. I guarantee you that your children will say, oh, wow, mommy apologizing? She ain't cussing and fussing at me? She ain't talking about my daddy in front of my face? Oh, my God. This can't be happening. But I guarantee you, there will be a change in them. You want change? Change in you. You always talking about, oh, they need to change. But what about you? You need to change. Those things are happening for you to change, not for those people outside you to change. There has to be a change in you first. And when there's a change in you first, then you know God is doing it. God is doing it. And he will do that. Then I want you also to take the time to just write down what you're going to refocus on. I'm going to refocus on paying attention to my children. I'm going to focus on making sure they have a meal. I'm going to focus on making sure their homework is done. I'm going to help them with their homework. And if you don't know math, because this is different math now, this is different math, there are tutors. There are people out there you can reach out to help your child with their learning. Don't be mad at the teacher because they're not learning. You have to help them with their learning. When they come home, you have to ask them questions. This is a mother's perspective, and should be your concern. I'm concerned for you, and you should be concerned for your children. So you got to redirect your attention, your energy, all of that. And you got to set priorities towards a new goal and task. I want you to write it down and say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to change. Where I'll be hanging out with my girlfriends and drinking, I'm going to be attentive to my children. We're going to sit down and watch a movie. We're going to sit down and talk. Just talk. What's on your mind? That's what I'm going to do. And that's what needs to happen. We just had the snowstorm and the kids were at home. I got some information that, hey, a lot of the schools was open during the school storm. You know why? So the kids could come to school and eat because they have nothing to eat at home. They have nothing to eat at home. That is ludicrous to me. This is my perspective. This is little. Why in the world kids don't have a bowl of cereal at home to eat? There's nothing in the refrigerator. I always have food. You come to my house now, I always have food. And my kids are grown, but I always have food. But they opened the school so the kids could come to school to eat. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad to have this, to even think this is happening, and that the kids rather come to school and zero below minus 15 weather, cold as all get out, so they could eat. We have to do better as mothers, young women. We have to do better, and we could do it. We could do it so well. But we got to get refocused and reset on our children. Now, when you look at, then also when you refocus, you're getting a clear vision. Okay, you've been focused on you. Okay, now the focus is going to be on your children. So you got to have a clear vision. If you don't know how to do that, there's resources in our community, that can reach out to have parenting classes. And some people think, I'm not taking a parenting class, but think about it. How was you raised? How was your parents? Were you okay the way they raised you? And if you was not okay, then you continue in a cycle in your children. Go and get the help. We don't want to go get help. Now, we want to go to school to learn A, B, and C's, but we don't want to go and get some help to help us calm our temper, show us how to talk to our children, show us how to assist our children. I know this is deep. I know you like, lady, you talking too much. I'm not trying to do all of that. I'm just trying to live my life. But you living your life and you have children. You have children, and you got to do better with that. Because what happens is, as they get grown, they're going to continue that cycle. They're going to have a child at 18, 16 years old. They're going to repeat that cycle, and then they're going to continue that cycle on their children. Meanness and nastiness. They're going to do the same thing. And now is the time for you to do something different. You want something different, do something different. Instead of going buying that hair and getting your quick weave, why not take the kids out to the movies? Now, you come on now. I know how much that hair costs. That hair costing you $200-$300. You could take some of that. Go to the movies. Spend some time with them. Let them be a kid. Let them be a kid. And what I learned, I've had experience where kids were being adults in the home, and then when I meet them, they're trying to run me, and I have to tell them, hey, slow down. You could be a kid today. I don't need no help. You could be a kid. Just relax, breathe. And so many of your children are now being an adults while you out doing your thing. And they taking care of sisters and brothers. That should not be happening. So you got to get a clear vision of what and how you want to set your house in order now. A clear vision. Think it through all the way out to the outcome. I'm going to start now with my children. Make it ain't got to be a New Year's resolution or nothing. It's a new year, 2026. You don't want to do what you did in 2025. Let's do a new thing in 2026. That's what that's about. That's what a mother's perspective is about. And that's why I'm here, to give you hope and encouragement and the love that I have in my heart for you, that you can make the change and you can be a better mother. You can be a better individual person, period. That life is not going to always have to be hard. Guess what? Them kids grow up. They're no longer babies and 2 years old. They grow up. And now they're going to be able to dress themselves. They're going to be able to help you clean up the house a little bit. But if you steadily treating them mean and nasty, they're going to be like, I don't want to be bothered with that. I don't want to be bothered with that. So let's do that. Let's redirect and reassess and readjust. That's part of the refocus. That's part of the refocus. And so as we reset, the resetting is that we're gonna do something about it. We're not just gonna talk about it, think about it, but we're gonna do something about it. And that's what we want to do. That's what we want to do. So if you have any questions, I done spoke, gave you some information, gave you some little direction. If you have any questions, you can leave your questions, and I could ask some questions here right now for you, and I will do that for you, because I'm here to make a difference in your life. 2026 is going to be different than 2025. The love of God is going to pour from me to you so that you can have a release, a husa, somebody that can give me some information and some direction in my life and with my children. Because I believe this has always been my motto since I was a teenager, because I grew up in church, seen a lot of things. And one thing I did not like, why are you talking about people if you're not going to help people? What can you do to make the change in their life? I'm not going to talk about a situation if I'm not going to put my hand to the situation and make a difference. So if you have any questions, please leave the questions. Dr. Butler would love to have a conversation with you pertaining to this. Refocus and resetting, and then refocusing again if you have to. Because sometimes it's going to take some work. It's not an easy task. If you want change, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. But how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? Do you want it bad enough that you will change your whole thought process, even your friends, you will change them so that you can have that better life, that peace that you've been looking for. Because we looking for peace in the bottle, in the weed, in the man, and you're not finding it. You're not finding it, and it's not. It's a temporary solution, and then you back to the same old thing. It's time. It's time for the change. So if as I said, I want you to reset your path, reset yourself, and put you on a path or a direction for a greater you and an improved you, a better you and improved. Where people will walk up and say, "Girl, I didn't even know that was you. Look at you." You know, that's what it's about. I want you looking good. Look at your kids. That's the worst thing the mom is looking fabulous and the kids are looking raggedy. That should not be. That should not be. Put some money on them kids. Go take them shopping. Their shoes should not be run over and yours looking sharp. This is just my perspective now. This is what I'm seeing. This now, my mother now, she would make that statement, "I can't have a pair of decent drawers for buying for these kids." Now, I didn't take that concept. When I bought for my kids, I made sure I had a decent pair of underwear too. So don't be that way either. Because you could be the extreme to one end and extreme to the other end. But you want to make sure all of you, every last one of you, I don't care if you got 2 to 7 kids, you want to make sure everyone is being cared for and nurtured with the love and the peace of God. And it begins with your change first. Your change first. And if it begins with your change first, you will see your whole household change. You will say, so as I said, it won't be easy, but you will feel and know your value and your worth when you begin this process. You will know it. All right. So in closing, I just want to say, I got a lot more. I'm going to end this session, but I got a lot more conversation. And you will see me again in a couple more weeks on the 19th of February. And if you have any questions or comments, just put them in, just put them in the feed. And I will get back to you regarding the questions and conversation and those your concerns and how to break that cycle and get you to a better you. Awesome. So until next time, I'll see you again. You know you are loved, and you know love is always there